taking a short break. That's a lie. There we go. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Good morning, everybody. Where did my window go? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, team.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
All right.
morning.
Julieta is up in the Twitch stream. File Shinobi, Outrun, Dylan. I'm here in the VIP server with Montoli. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, everyone.
Mordecai, aka Brent.
Good morning.
Ocelix, aka Hennessy.
Hello, hello.
Outrun, aka Dylan.
Good morning.
Roland, aka Rolock.
Good morning.
Backwards on you. And the artist formerly known as Witcher, Windfall Drifter, aka Zach.
Morning, everyone.
All from Team Meta, and we're here to go over the patch notes with y'all. I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty excited about this patch note. There is a lot of stuff coming in, a lot of very cool stuff. The first of which is in. By the way, Hennessy, get queued up because we're gonna do material API stuff right after I talk about 32 players. Now, who here? Let me get 22 watchers here, so we're gonna get some more peoples coming in for this. Who here in chat is excited about 32 players? Rolock is. Roland, you can say stuff in voice. Say no. There we go.
I thought you were talking about text chat.
No, in voice. Well, yeah, everybody in the text chat. If you guys are already in here, you can talk. Use your words. Input field math. Steve likes the input field math. Steve, what would you use input field math for? What's the first thing you would use it for? Steve is typing. Anybody else in here? Chris, what would you use it for?
Actually, I'm really looking forward to seeing what other people have for that one, because that one, it's neat. Like it lets you do things like write math expressions in input fields. So you can say like 5 plus 10 or something instead of writing 15. It seems like a good way to increment things by a fixed amount. I don't have a good use for it besides that. It's a nice convenience feature, but if anyone has like a really cool feature for it, say it out in chat. I'd love to hear it. Yeah, like Steve says, automating stuff in UI seems like a good use case.
Yep, that's a really good use case. Just ease of placement. Dun, 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 dun. Or you can do that at runtime. Just saying.
Yeah.
Corey's a calculator. There you go. All right. So back to 32 players. 32 players is exciting. Caveat, though, is that there's a lot of the limits that haven't changed. So to use 32 players effectively, you need to make sure that you are, and I'll get my core. Make sure y'all have patched core. The patch went out at 8 a.m. this morning. Make sure that y'all are checking your performance stuff. So let me grab.
I've got my Bigglebuns performance notes right here.
Do you? Let me grab a map here. Where is that map I was looking for? Let's go Spell Shock. Let's take a look at Spell Shock. mechanized IT. That is no more than 125 networked objects. Wabros, what's up? CCCCCCC, my computer can't handle 32. Okay. So we see these things up here. Performance limits. We can do view, window. Where is my performance? There's my performance. Non-networked object, 29,000 non-networked objects. So if I go this to 32, oops, 23. Boom. Higher max players will make performance optimization more difficult, having low numbers. So, I don't know that we're going to get away with 32 players on Spell Shock 2. As everybody's probably heard once or twice, is that it gets exponentially greater requirements. Although the one of the bigger costs was players, and keep that in mind. Having objects attached to players is one of those high costs that you can you can try and avoid if you're really going for the 32 player experience. I thought I would quit. There we go. High spec videos, performance rating, look at the frame rates, all kinds of red. Dragged a few bodies with me. Nice. Welcome, people. We got Biao QQ, we got Dread, DX Pirate, and Grim Exile. What's up, Grimlad? All right, so just keep in mind that you need to keep an eye on performance, and you need to watch that, and you need to do, as many performant things as you can. We will be taking a look at it ourselves. Meta hasn't even had a chance to mess with this and see if we could make some of our projects work with more players. We will, and we will get the results of that to y'all. Okay. Next up, we are going to cover the material API, and we got a number of examples for y'all. And Hennessy, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
All right, share your. Boom, you are live. Go here, and I'm going to go bam. Hold up a second.
As you guys have probably already seen, the Material API stuff in this patch there's some cool stuff. For anyone that hasn't dug in, it used to be that static meshes, you couldn't change the materials at runtime, but in this patch, there's some new features that let you read materials at runtime from static meshes, and also write to the static meshes material, so you can change materials around to different things, and there's some cool stuff you can do with that. We've got some cool examples, and Hennessy's going to show you some of them right now.
Okay, so you guys can see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so what we have here is a car customizer, so you could customize almost everything on it. So it's basically just a script that you drag into the core cars. So basically you could change materials, you could change colors. So let's see. So this is the default car paint available in core, and then we could also do some rusted iron right here.
Rusted. That's what Bronze Sword's car looks like.
Have this glass right here. Gold. Wood. Mm-hmm.
Wood.
There's also some funky stuff, like if you go with Jello.
Jello car!
Green Jello. Who doesn't like Jello?
Right? So it jiggles while you drive.
Oh my god, it's great.
I love how you can see the engine through it.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Burning.
Some burning, right? Have some burning car right there.
Burning. Cheshire Bird, what up? Phantom, what up?
Some digital screen.
Car is on fire. The disco
Oh,
car.
nice. I hadn't seen that one yet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I know what I'm talking about.
there's some experimental ones like this one, invisible ones. Basically, but right now it just hides the front face. Basically, you can see the inside,
Nice.
That
right?
is really cool.
That's crazy.
So this one will basically make you change uh, parts of it. So if you go, let's
Yeah,
see.
you can actually. Hennessy's got this set up that you can customize the whole thing and change every piece. Oh my gosh! Scroll down through that, Hennessy, so you can see the whole list. Holy mackerel!
Yeah, so it basically removes the interior for now and the wheels, but then everything else is gonna get included. You know, the door handle got included for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's so many things you can change there. Surely this must be really a lot of work to hook up to a car, right?
No, you just drag the script. That's it. And then you just choose whatever material. Because these ones are the ones that I made, but then you guys can just add on to these ones, and then you'll have a whole lot more materials that you could use.
The brick car. Hologram.
Follow the yellow brick
Grizzly
car.
Game says every update exponentializes my ideas. I know, right? They're trying to say, Trashbird's trying to say you get a ticket for the digital screen. I think you need to go back to the digital screen real quick.
Digital screen.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, you just did one part. You gotta go overall. I think you can get away with that driving down the street. What do you think? Magic glass would be nice.
Magic glass to the hood. There
It's
you
like
go.
a catch cab.
Open hood. Right, so this one will be available on CC. Maybe we could put some decals in the future. We'll see what we can do with that, because right now decals are dependent on the geometry, basically.
So, there's a question. Where to go? I swear somebody just asked a question. Where to go? So the script just finds all objects in the template file, so nobody asked that.
Yeah, so there are folders in the car templates, and then most of them have the interior and the wheels folder. So those ones will get excluded. You could increase the exclusion or remove them altogether. So it's all in the script, so you could play with it. It's very simple.
Automod, somebody, BowQQ wanted to say pimp my ride, and Automod said no, but I'll allow that because that's a reasonable response. Pimp my ride. All right. Imagine player skins that are reactive at certain periods of time in the game. Oh, funny you should say that.
Funny you should mention that.
Dylan,
Nice
you're
segue.
up. Thou are up, Dylan.
Segue.
And this is Hennessy. This is available on CC right now, right?
Right now, so I'm just gonna pack it up and then I'll publish it there.
It'll be ready for you on CC before the end of the stream.
Yeah.
Dylan, it is time for the outrun.
All right. I'll drop a link inside the chat so everybody gets to try this out.
Okay. You probably send me the link. I don't know if we have you authorized. Nope. Do not have you authorized. I blame Tasha for that. Send me the link, Dylan.
All right.
Boop. Boop. Here's the link. Camouflage vehicles is what we're calling it. Boo.
I can't wait to play around with this.
I know, right? Dylan, you want to stream so you can show it in real time?
Yep.
Dylan is not. There we go. Bam. All right.
Can you guys see everything?
Yep.
So yeah, in this material API example, we're able to get the material slots of core objects and get their material IDs, which basically gets applied to all of our geo on our vehicles here. And the way that camouflage vehicles work is if we perform a vertical raycast below the vehicle, which detects the core object, we could call a function to get the material slot of that core object and get a property of that, which is our material ID. And then we basically run a double for loop to go through all the children of our parent geo folder and get the material slots of all those children, and then we apply the material. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the materials for like the world geo, those are asset references. So those are all those are found in project content. So you can create some material, and what I like to use for this example, since these are like camouflage vehicles, is to use smart materials, because as you drive, it'll always blend with whatever material you drive over. So you get like a really cool effect.
So Tasha says, "Hey, not everyone gets link private." She says, "I don't make the rules," and then she's like, "Okay, wait a minute, I do make the rules, and the rule is not everybody gets link privileges." Sorry. So Tasha was flexing there. One thing to note on this is that with the current version of the material API, that all of these meshes need to be networked, so you can actually hit them with raycast and get the material off them. So this is not in any way practical or performant, but just a neat little idea.
Yes, that's one of the things for this example I had to actually do was send over the material ID info over to my client script as a network custom property. It could change in the future, but yes, as Buck Monster mentioned, please use this sparingly.
And Zach, I know you got something for me too, right?
Yeah, I can show off
Thank you,
my...
Dylan.
Of course.
I can show off...
You have multiple
my...
things to show.
Yeah, I can start with... using this material API real quick and just show off. I was very inspired by what Outrun was working on, and I just wanted to show off another implementation or use of that script. This took a little bit of extra finagling because it's a costume attached to the player, but it follows the same basic idea of a networked ground object that the raycast picks up and applies to certain pieces on the character's equipment. Similar to what Dylan had set up. This one's got an exclusion folder, an ignore group. So the pieces that glow, or pieces that you want to be like the headset there that doesn't have the color applied to it. You slap whatever you don't want in there, and then everything else it'll cycle through and apply the material. This is another example of or a different example, I should say, without smart materials. So you can get, there's a couple of different ways you can take it and make it cool. But yeah,
so Shakhtar said, "Nice chameleon racing."
Yes, right.
Right. Terrace Bird, this brings hide and seek to a whole new level. Why am I looking at flying camera? Where's the car? Oh, you've been funny. So many cool things are going to come from this. I love it. From Vile Shinobi, but it's cool, and that's the point. Yes, of course. That's why we showed it, because it was cool, not practical.
Right. Sometimes you just got to go full cool,
Prop hunt a whole new level. That is true. Prop hunt
for sure.
A whole new level. Ahead of the game already. Grizzly, imagine a weapon projectile impact that changes the material. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's good. See, there we go. Already coming up with ideas. Is there a read version of Mat ID you can pick up from object properties without the network? And that is, I don't think so. Correct? I didn't try this example yet, but I do not think so yet, Vile Shinobi. All right. Okay, enough of this cabbage, Zach. I know you have something else.
I was going to say, I didn't know. Let me go switch over here.
Okay, while we're on the subject of materials, we've got 5 new building 9-slice composites. in this, which will allow you to do cool, simple cityscapes, and buildings, and you can see on the screen right now.
Yeah,
Great
so I'm
pictures.
super excited about the potential of this. As I was working on this and getting it ready for this, I was reminded of, I think about a year ago, there was a summer, like a summer festival was the theme of one of the game jams, and I was trying to make this like little street with a little, festival, and in the background I was gonna make a city, and I struggled with that, and I had these cubes with this horrible like sci-fi tech material on it, and it kind of looked decent, okay, but ultimately it was just a bunch of little emissive dots on some cubes, and just the way the pattern was didn't really look like a city. And then they were talking about this 9 slice building stuff, and I was like, 9 slice, what does that even mean? I still don't really know what it even means, but I do know that it looks super cool when you throw them all together and you start making a little city. So this is going to be a template that I'll publish as a CC. You can just drop it into your scene as a background piece. There is collision on everything too, so if you did want to go and make a racing game through the streets, it's not super, optimized for that, but you could take it and use it how you want. But I wanted to just show off some different 9 slice materials.
And these are all
here-
cubes. With
These
the
are all just
exception-
cubes. Yeah.
The houses.
Yeah, the houses have some pyramid
Prisms,
roofs,
yeah.
but everything else is just a cube, just a single cube. And these materials, they have some really cool settings where you can totally customize how these windows, the base material of the building, the material and color, emissiveness of the windows. It's super cool. Let's see.
Samuel Skew said, so neat.
So this one's just a
Leaf,
brick
I will definitely
building.
use that for my procedural generated city. Well,
Oh, yes.
bring on that procedurally generated city there, Khalif.
I would love to see that. This is a
Yeah.
very miniature little hand placed slice, but you could use this to go like full procedural and just really go wild with
Mhm.
it. But yeah, so you can change the material of the building here, however you want it to be. A corn building, that looks nice. But you can change the sections between as well.
Yeah, that's
This
crazy.
is where it really starts getting crazy. The scale of how these windows look. So
Tiny
depending
little
on-
people in that building.
right? Tiny little people. What one giant room? You can
It's
really
like
go
an
nuts.
evil building.
Transparent if you want. You could go. I'm sure there's a
Like
creative
use it for
application
skins, like skin a building, like do complex geometry looking things on the building maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. And then let's see real quick. Let's see the glass color. So this is where it starts getting kind of crazy. You can really like go and start
So
changing.
you could take a script and go make it change color, like the entire building is
Oh.
doing
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So I think one of my favorite things is there's this percentage of the lit
waking up
windows.
in the morning, yeah.
Right? It's like, oh man, you could have some fun with this. And
And
similarly, there's a randomness. So if you really wanted to have a completely like random looking city, you could have a bunch of different instances where this random lit window changes up how it looks. Oh man, yeah, this is
Here's the
a really
game.
cool.
will be in use in my new work in progress. Don't tease with work in progress. You at least got to give a little bit of.
But
Trash Bird says I've been using custom office wall panel 03 for skyscrapers. Well, now you're in luck.
I think
gotta
that was
do
the
that
one that I
anymore.
was using.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it probably was. Everybody used Rave City exactly, Valsanoba. You get me.
But
Okay. Okay, so wrapping up on this because Zach has one more thing to show us. Materials API, amazing. We've been asking for it. If we would have had it before, I think we had like 280 weapon models in Strike Team, and if we would have had that, we could have had significantly less models. So now you don't have to switch out models. You can switch the material real time. So skins, everyone. Name of the game is skins. Skins are a great cosmetic piece and perk piece and even progression to get to the next skin or get that outfit you want. So keep that in mind. These are going to be awesome because now we can get more complex environments without breaking the bank on the number of meshes and objects we use. So because Zach is on a roll, we're going to go ahead and let him show one more thing.
We will show one more thing.
There are
So-
flags.
We got some flag materials and objects, which are really cool. Again, this is kind of what that 9-slice building
Mm-hmm.
material looks like up close. So it doesn't have to be a super off in the distance,
Right.
building. You could really easily just, rather than having to have objects for every single window frame and brick lining, you could very quickly make a street scene using these 9-slice materials, and it still looks good up close. But what I want to show off here, we have these new, with all the cool racing stuff and the vehicles that have come out, we have now at our disposal some flags that have all sorts of cool checkered flags, start, finish, different types of looks on them. I just went with the basic color to show off some of the newest thing that I'm very excited about is the wind source component.
So what do these look like without the wind source?
Without the wind source. So if I was just going to go, well, actually, this particular banner right here
It's just
is
wind source.
this one's just using a custom, the material. The default looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go and you create a new custom material, you can go in and there are 2 boxes that
wind, yep.
change orient to wind. So if I have a wind source component in my scene, this
Mhm.
will take its orientation.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also say I don't even want to use the level wind. So if you don't do that, there's a lot of settings and choices just based off of this material. You can choose how frequent the wind is and how much the small ripples go,
Get that
how much it's
displacement going. There you
displaced,
go.
which is the real big one for how intense and crazy the wind is.
Is
if you're
that
having a
shadow
hurricane.
on it coming from the environment, the sky settings, maybe?
That may be a sky settings things. I was fiddling with it this morning trying to see if there was anything else that explained why it was coming to harsh shadows. But regardless, even with some medium ones, I'm not sure exactly why it's that shiny. But this is where you can say I want to change my direction. This is all just based on this custom material. So I could have 2 custom materials, 3 that have completely different settings. But if I
Mhm.
want to, oh my goodness, if I want to use this new wind source component. So these flags right here, these red and blue flags, are using
Mhm.
the wind source component right now. So if I take this wind source component in my scene and I start manipulating it, any
Mhm.
flag material that has orient to the level wind attached to it, it's going to start reacting whenever this moves. So I could just leave it like that. I could say, hey, I want there to be wind coming from this way. I want that to be kind of the direction.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still so excited about last patch and the 2D curves that I decided to take it one step further and do a quick example of how you could actually animate the wind source component, and that would drive the animation of any other.
So you can have
material.
different wind sources for these, right?
That I'm not sure. I've only seen the one.
Okay.
Because it would be really cool to have I'd like this flag to take this wind source. Right
Mhm.
now, I've only seen it work with one in the scene, but I haven't really
Okay.
fully tested that
Gotcha.
yet. But if I was going to hit play right
But
here,
you can animate the wind source to change the direction of the wind.
absolutely. So I used a 2D curve to animate the cable, and then I also used the exact same curve applied to the wind source itself. So that wind source is actually moving, and as it moves, the flags are going too. If I pause the animation on this group and I just let the wind source be animated, you'll see that our flags ripple in the wind, and then they also move as if there's just a subtle gust. And normally, if I was going to do this by hand, this would be a huge pain in the butt
Uh-huh.
to make this work. But to just add a subtle bit of life to your scene,
Mhm.
you're coming up the stairs, to your kind of hero point in your
Player
game.
capes. Player capes
Exactly.
would be awesome, right?
Right? Oh man. But
Boss Novi, I don't know about player capes. Depends on the physics at that point. Grizzly. All right. You've got their mic open. All right. Let's
But
see.
yeah, black
Boss Novi
materials.
asks, does VFX and everything else have access to the wind source? I do not know. So could you give a
that's a
check
good
real
question.
quick?
I
That
don't
is a good question.
believe so. So it's at least something that I was excited to see, and it's not quite there yet, would be something like a grass. I don't think grass has access to the wind source yet at this point. But
has its own
I've
built-in
only
wind.
seen the new flags.
What about smoke?
Let's see. Smoke volume. don't see wind source on that yet. As
Nope.
as far as I can tell, the new batch of flags are the only ones that have that wind
Okay.
source currently and as of right now. And that's any of these custom materials from these new racing flags. You go in there, then you have wind, orient to wind, and use level
Mhm.
wind.
Nice. Okay. Magical.
It's very cool. And that's all I got.
Excellent. All right. So we're going to go back to patch notes. Where's my patch notes? Why is my patch notes not working? Tasha, clearly you haven't trained me enough on this. All right, patch notes. Back to patch notes. So let's go through it real quick. Covered a bunch of cool things. By the way, new game promotions are now live. This allows creators to spend core credits to promote their games in the core platform. Yes, 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 yes. We already talked about the 32 players. Materials swapped at runtime. Enable support for mesh merging and templates. This will allow you to have be able to have mesh merging be able to shared, which is cool. The math operator and numeric input fields. Thank you, Steve, for bringing that up first. You can now create new games in folders with only get ignore, get attributes, VS Code, license files in them. Cool. Adding the ability to tile texture in the UI progress bar. I haven't had a chance to mess with the all the stuff that's been coming out in UI. We've got somebody, I think his name is Josh, working on the UI stuff. It's been brilliant so far. This is kind of cool that you can actually texture the UI, the materials in the UI progress bar. Excited for that. You could now, performance-wise, you can now set line of distance trains can have. Jordan just did a little course that I think we recorded. We'll have to try and get it out to everyone that showed all that and showed some of the magic that you can do with the terrain system. Let's see here. Do change, fix. New static mesh and animated mesh. Set materials. New enables Lua API transmitting chunks of data for a single player. Chris, do you want to go over this?
Yeah.
You can talk about it, and then Brent can talk
Sorry, go
about
ahead.
how he's using it in the achievements that he'll do a preview on.
Okay, so the quick overview is, so we have a couple different ways when you want to transfer data between servers and clients in core. Like, a lot of the logic, of course, is happening on the server, but sometimes the clients need to know things. They can display UI, HUDs, like cool graphic effects that are only on the client side only, whatever. And we've always had kind of so there's events that are very fast, but because they're very fast, they have to be very limited. Like you can only have 120 bytes worth of data sent via event. So they're and by for events here, I'm talking about like event.broadcast to client. We've also got event.broadcast to player or broadcast to all players. So those are kind of like the fast and small. Well, so those are fast and small, and then we've got broadcast to player, which sends it to one player, or broadcast to all players, which just sends it to everybody. And we've got custom network properties that that are slow, but also have like very few limits. Like you can send about as much data as you want. It'll get there eventually, relatively speaking. I mean, realistically, it usually gets there within a second or so, but it's not like the millisecond level responsiveness of events. And it goes to everybody. So we've got a thing that we can send small and fast data to one person or everybody, and we can send a bunch of data to everybody. But we've always kind of been missing a way where you could send a lot of data to one player. And sometimes you really need to do that because you're doing something like somebody's loading into a game and you need to send them their entire games, like the game state of the game, or you need to send them the just their save data so they know what costumes they have unlocked, or so they can display UIs or what achievements or other things they've got. So now we have a way of doing that, and that's really cool. And that is the let's see. I'm trying to remember what the command is actually called. I think it's send private. Here, I'll just look it up.
Set private network data.
Set private network data and get private network data, where you give it a key and data. And this is kind of cool because it's kind of like the storage system, where you could just give it a table of whatever data you want in it. So these are Lua tables, so they can be expensive in terms of space, but you get a lot of space on how much you could send on these. Like, our testing seems to show that you can get at least, like, I think we got up to like 24K in one broadcast on this, so you can send a lot of stuff. Now, these are lower priority than events, which means that when when the system needs to send other things, it'll almost always send those before it gets around to sending this. But it's here, and it's really useful for things like this.
You just need to plan for that, and Brent can talk about how he ran into that and what he did with it.
Yeah. And I want to add one other thing while we're talking about communication here, because this is also in the patch notes of the... we changed how rate limiting works also. And this is a way... This is almost entirely beneficial for everybody doing stuff. So the way it used to work... So everybody who's worked with events has almost certainly seen the error message of like, oh, you sent too many... Your rate limit exceeded. You don't get to send this event right now. And that's because events, like I said, have some definite limits on them of like how often you could send things. I believe it was about 10 events per second. And the way it used to work is the server could only call the event system to broadcast 10 times per second, no matter what it was doing. So if it did if it needed to send 10 pieces of data to one client, and then it tried to say, okay, now broadcast to all players, it would fail because the system would say, oh, we've already sent your 10 pieces of data this second. Slow down there, buddy. Well, now, one of our many talented engineers has fixed that problem. Shout out to Kevin, because he's awesome and has been working a lot on this kind of thing. Now it's rated specifically per player. So if you send, 5 events to player 1 and 5 events to player 2, it doesn't look at that and think, oh, you've sent 10 events. It says, oh, each target has had 5 of the 10 events that it could have. So now, instead of the system sending 10 events total per second, now it's the system sending 10 events to any one person per second. So you can send any combination, like broadcast to all players, increments everyone's counter by 1. Sending just one event to one player increments just that player's counter by 1. It'll still fail if you try to send broadcast to all and anyone has had too many events sent, it'll fail. So you still have to be careful about, like, if you send 10 events to one person and then try to broadcast to everybody, it'll still fail because that one person can't catch it. But now, at least, if you send 5 and 5 and 5 to individual players, you can still do broadcast to alls afterwards. It's really cool. You probably won't directly notice it, other than your events will give you the rate limit exceeded less frequently, but
we've run into that improvement. All right, thank you, Chris. And one more thing before you go. Reorder.
Oh yeah, the reorder. I wanted to put a demo of this together, but it would have been kind of a boring demo anyway. There's now the ability to change the order of things in the hierarchy, which doesn't sound super exciting because, for the most part, the order of things in the hierarchy doesn't really matter. I mean, sometimes it might matter if you're doing clever things like trying to read the hierarchy and use that to change how your program operates, but mostly things, everything, what matters is what the parent is. But there's one place where it absolutely matters a lot, and that is when you are doing UI, because the hierarchy order for UI is the order that it draws in. So moving a thing up or down in the hierarchy changes what is in front of or behind it. And so up until now, we didn't really have I feel like I'm a broken record here. We didn't have a good way of doing this, and now we do. But that's kind of the theme, of course, and maybe that's okay.
We don't have just because it's new, we didn't get a chance to dig into this and come up with really cool examples of why we would use it. So whoever does that first, send it to me, and then we'll make sure we showcase that, because this is going to be, I mean, I've worked a lot with UI, and I could just imagine now I can change the way I think about UI, which is great.
And now specifically we can move things in front of and behind each other on UI. You could have kind of done this before if you made everything a static template and then spawned thing, like deleted everything and then respawned it in the right order, but
Yeah,
now
that
there's a
sounds
much better
terrible.
way. It would have been terrible. Please never do that.
All right, change. Moving on, we have core content. New added 4 animated meshes, 1 skeleton to the catalog under the mecha category. Mecha head, mecha arms, mecha torso, mecha skeleton. Added AI activity turret to game components. The turret showcases the true use of the activity handler. I didn't even check this out. I missed that little piece. That's exciting. I'm going to go do that after this. Added the wind source, which Zach talked about. Fixed the dual katana blades. Great. Fix the issue with Roger's lower gear missing SFX. Decals and materials. Animated LCD racing screen. Cliff Desert Strata. We already talked the 9 slice building stuff. Cliff Ever wind eroded. Plastic inflatable for nice racing, like bouncy racing things, right? You run in them because I'm a terrible driver. Railroad markings. Sand waves. Where is the decal road lines with markings? Where? Skid marks. Hood designs. Oh, here's the exciting one. I mean, they're all exciting, but this is really cool if you look into like customized car. Hood designs, side design symbols. So you could totally flame job your car if you want to. It's going to be really cool. Here are some UI textures that are in. And then a bunch of Japanese and a bunch of Japanese weapon textures, claws and shurikens and staves and energy ball. And then magic circle generator examples are in. This could be pretty good because I know that they were talking about using 2D curves with these, so I'm excited to see what Neil and team came up with on the magic circle examples. 3D objects, we got some more chests that are Japanese design. Animated signs for racing. Rents, left wing, those are all cool. The neon signs. Satellite, a hill sand, racing flag banner. A bunch of banners and the triangles you saw Zach using. Guardrails. Who needs them? V-Rabbit needs to put guardrails on the map because I kept falling off. All kinds of curves. There is our satellite audio, vehicle and race audio, new music kits, quirky kart racers, European drift race, breakbeat future flux racers, new stingers. And the new effects is we got race countdown, vehicle, motorcycle, dirt bike, engine. Anything engine is awesome. Motorcycle. Old motorcycle engine out of low. Better not be talking about Harleys. Vehicle sports car engine, accelerate, decelerate, high RPM, medium RPM. And the theme pack audio bundle, new music kits. Exciting new SFX ambience. Shuriken blade impact. Shuriken Ninja Star light metal armor impact. Woo! Music. You can see it's still going. New SFX, female child, giggle, laugh, hee hee, cute, 01. Female giggle, laugh, 01. Nature ambiance, whip crack, whoopsh, good deal. And then mecha animations, bind pose, fly, idle, ready, relax, move backward. This is exciting. I'll make mecha movement and animations really neat. Added a few new animations that work with Mecha Rig. The chest beam, death impact, punch right, react right. Yes. And reminder that beginning patch 187 projects now have an additional scenes folder. That's coming up in August. That will be very awesome. So just a couple more things that are coming up. And let me get back to this. Boom. We have a couple more things coming up in well, a lot of things coming up in July, but there's some notable ones that I want to give you a heads up on now. Is our engineering team is working hard on getting a couple new features for the vehicle system, which includes movement hooks and access to properties at runtime. You can change property at runtime via Lua. Huge shout out to those peeps because that's pretty amazing. And we're working on a tank game armored force, which will be very fun, but it's going to be very fun to see what the community does with all that access. And then also we have reward points coming up. This is the grind currency that perks creators are going to be able to put in their game, and it will be called out and promoted by Manticore of which games have perks or have the reward points in it, and you can use that reward points to buy, reward points items, costumes, mounts, etc. in the I think mounts in the store. And because of that, I'm going to bring Brent on, and Brent is going to do a little showcase of a CC that we're working on that is also going to be like a plug and play way for you guys to add, perks creators to add reward points. There we go. Reward points to your games. And have it ready for when the actual reward points comes out the day of, and already have that ready in your game. So without further ado, hello Brent, and what do you got to show us?
Yep, so this is the achievement system still. We showed this in the last stream. However, there's been some pretty good changes. As Buck mentioned, out of the box, this will be able to work with RP points when it comes out. And so once it's available and you're a perks creator, then you can just enable it, and then you could set it up so your achievements, as an example with right here, hang on, having some technical difficulty, is the reward is currently gold. Well, the other rewards that you can give is also RP points. You can change whatever you want. Like, for example, this is currently just resources, but if you're wanting to give out RP points for different things that players do in your games, then you could go ahead and do that. So, for example,
or items, right?
Well, I'm talking about RP points,
Gotcha.
Like having them play a set amount of rounds before they get some points and stuff like that. Because the achievements, not only can they store progress, but they can also be set to be repeatable. That way, if you want to have something that is daily, you could have some of these be daily. You could have some of them be longer term progression that just saves. And then you can also have round-based stuff that will count how many times you've done it. So, for example, say it's like get 20 kills in a match. Well, if you do that, if the player actually succeeds at that, it would start counting how many times they've done it. That way you can display, you've got the 20 kill medal or whatever you want to call it, 17
Badge,
times.
medal, whatever award.
Yeah. And then Cons, shout out to Cons because he redid the UI, which looks a lot better than I had it, if you remember last week. So it looks really good. So it's also very simple to change. And so out of the box, the UI and everything will be very easy for creators to go ahead and change. The other big thing is that I switched this system over to use the new private network data. And so if I can, one second. So I switched it over to private network data, and I know this is getting slightly more technical, but what's great about it is that for like achievement information, it only makes sense to have that particular player know about it, and it's also a lower priority in terms of the networking. So it's perfect for something like achievements where it's something that in the moment, if the player is focusing on trying to damage another player or get a kill, they're unlikely to be staring at their achievements to see if it updates right then and there. And so this is the perfect example, or one of the many examples, I should say, that you can use this private network data. And it was super simple to set up because before the achievement system was using resources, and it took me a while to go through and find all the places I was using resources. So that actually is what took the time. It was as simple as just changing it from set resource to set private network data. And I'm actually going to have the achievement system set up where if you don't want to use private network data for whatever reason, say that you want another player to be able to see someone else's achievements, I'm also going to set it up today where you can switch the types of data transfers that it uses depending on what you're wanting to do. And so like you won't have to change any code at all. You'll just toggle a bullet.
Boom.
And yeah, I did show like none of these custom properties have really changed at the moment, but basically everything out of the box, like the reason I used this framework was because, and I know I haven't demoed it yet, but basically I just plopped the achievement system in, and out of the box it worked. The only thing I did have to change is because if you're going to store the progression of the achievements, you will need to make sure that you do enable player storage.
Yep.
Outside of that, everything just works. And yeah, as we said, like,
So how do you define an achievement, Brent? Let me try and play Chris's role for a second.
so yeah, it's
You
like
drop
for
in a
example,
script. You got Slayer there.
yeah. So all you got to do to actually add it. Okay, I see what you're saying. Just to add a new
Yep.
achievement.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's this. It's all hierarchy driven. So you basically would just copy. Oh, that's why nothing's working.
There you go.
You just copy it, and then you just change its name as the actual object itself. So, for example, 125 coins. You just change the ID for it, and this is. I might talk with Chris to see if there's a better way to do this, but basically, right now it just has to have a unique ID. So all you do is just make it. You just change it to whatever. You just got to make sure that your achievements are each unique to each other. You would just change, what it is that they have to do. So the required would be if it's collect
The
125
amount,
coins,
yeah.
you just change it to 125. You could change the icon, which is what shows up, the description, and then there's a lot of these different options that I still have to write the tooltips and write the README for everyone. So it's easier, but basically a lot of these options are just changing how the achievement actually works. Like, is it repeatable? Then it means that once they've completed it, they can claim a reward and then it resets and they can do it again. If you want it to reset on round start, so this is more so like the medal type system I was kind of talking about. This is how we have it set up in Strike Team where
It's
the
just round
achievement,
based.
yeah, it resets every single round. And then there's the save completed count, which is if it is resetting on round start or is repeatable, what it is storing is it's storing how many times you've done said thing. And then in terms of like changing how the achievement works, you just change its type down here. And right now, once again, it's on a resource change event, on kill, on damage, on win, round, and score. And so it's basically if your team scores or if you score in like a free for all, if the round ends, then it's like, play 5 rounds as an example, or specifically if you want it to be only on win. And then as I mentioned on the last stream, it's also set up that you can do custom things very quickly. I did use one of our other projects and set up the achievement system with more custom stuff, and it only took a couple minutes for more advanced creators that do have more custom stuff that they need to get done, because it's all set up in the API.
Yeah, so Boxlane asked, would the achievements be able to see wins and round itself, like something in a racing game when you add it in? Yes. So we're going to have it set up with all the basics, like a list. You can just cherry pick which ones you want of all the common event-based things that we could get broadcast that we could capture, just like Brent did here, and just dropping it in. And then we're going to have ones for RP, just like template ones. To give you an example of how we're going to set up RP, we'll be setting up the RP points for like Strike Team, Sector 9, and whatnot. And then it really is as simple as just changing the information on the script. And then underneath that, Brent, you have a script that dictates the reward.
Yeah. So, yeah, the other thing is like if you want to like I just use gold or money, I guess in this case. Under each achievement is the extra rewards, and so there's going to be a few different template types that you can use that you just drag under the achievement, and as long as the achievement has this Boolean checked that is give rewards, everything underneath it as a child will be given as a reward. So as an example, this particular one is a resource. So if the resource name is money, when they claim this particular achievement, they would get 500 money as a resource.
Mhm.
So another one will be the RP points. We could set one up that actually gives out equipment, stuff like that.
Or
And so-
experience, like anything you want.
yeah. So for example, if you have multiple resources in your game, like you could have money, you could have XP, and you would literally just copy it. Now it's XP.
Yep.
So now this particular one's giving both money and XP, and so they would get both of those automatically as opposed to
XP
just
bracket.
one. There you
Boom. OCD appeased. All right. Sky is the limit. Anything. Yeah, this will be very, very powerful, and it's actually relatively easy to use. We're going to do our best to make these things as visually, the visual scripting style as easy to use as possible, because it makes it easy for people who aren't heavy duty into development to be able to configure things, which is great. We want more people being able to do cooler stuff in their games. Speaking of OCD, the number of unread messages on that Discord screen is killing me slowly. Oh, my bad. Welcome to my life. All right, do we have any other questions? Do we? City of Mercy, what's happening? Shock Tour.
It's not on CC yet. I think the plan is to try and get it out
Wednesday?
this week, tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I guess gotta make the README.
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday. Excellent work, Brent. This is great. Can't wait. And then we'll let everybody know in the Perks Discord when we release it. Well, it's going to be released to everybody, but we'll specifically let those who can put RP in their games know. And if you are not a Perks creator and you're bumming that you can't put RP points in and get new stuff and new promotion to your games, then hurry up and get yourself to be a Perks creator. All right? And we are coming to the end of it. Tasha, are you listening? Are you out there? What is coming up next later today so we can announce it? Boom, boom, boom. Hold up. I got you covered. Fucking game. Boosh. Out my way. Ba-ba-ba. Gotta bring my Slack back up. Where is Core Live? I'd like to thank everybody from Meta for joining me today and doing such a good job on these things.
Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Okay, I got it. It's here somewhere. Damn it. There it is. Core Live. Streaming schedule for today is... Got this. At 12 p.m., Core Creator Spotlight, Creation 25, and Fuddy. Oh, you got to check them out. Those are two cool guys. Ryan and Corey are the guys behind Horizon Survival, along with some other upcoming games, which could be nice. And then at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, Community Content Countdown plus feedback session with Tasha. Whoop, whoop. All right. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for another one of these. Bye.
Until next time.
See ya.